So what's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today you're gonna get my first impressions on unboxing the new iPhone 12 Pro Max. Hopefully it's gonna look insane. So I've been waiting for this phone for like the last 3 months, and they phoned me today and said, listen, my phone's in stock, so it's gonna be absolutely amazing. The smell of a fresh product. How's this silver edge? Hey, but this thing picks up finger marks very easy, so it's a massive phone compared to my old phone. I'll compare this now to my old phone. So basically you just get the iPhone 12 Pro Max in the box, and then that's the nicest part. Sure. So big phone. And then what else do you get in this box? You do get the USB-C to Lightning adapter. So as you guys can see, USB-C, Lightning, so that's quite cool. And then also just some and one iPhone sticker. So a cool tip about this phone is it's square, so you can actually stand upright like this. This is basically the size difference. If you place the old iPhone XS on it, that's basically the size difference. So as you can see, it's quite massive. Even screen real estate, you can see it's massive. And obviously this thing still has a cover on. So I went for silver again. I actually love the silver phone with the white background. That's my favorite. And then basically that's the thickness comparison. It looks very similar to the iPhone XS, with also a notch on both lenses. The notch looks exactly the same. So, and then battery, I think I went for the bigger size for battery because this one for me, battery didn't last that long. So I'm so excited. I hope you guys can see how excited I am. I think the last time I was this excited was when I got my first drone. So basically comparing the XS and the 12 Pro Max, if you look on the left hand side, that's a 12 Pro Max image. This is just a normal photo mode. It's not a big difference between them. But looking at the portrait mode, you can clearly see the 2.5x zoom is quite a massive upgrade, and the quality looks much more crisp. Then looking at the more portrait style modes, you can clearly see the field of view is a much higher quality than on the 12 Pro Max than the XS. Obviously you have the newer wide angle shots, both for the back camera as well as for the selfie camera, which is very cool. I enjoy it so much. So I think one of the biggest improvements is definitely in the night photography, as you can see these night portraits. So the 12 Pro Max is clearly the winner. Also we can take a look at some slow-mos. If you can see the 12 Pro Max, it looks nice and crisp where I focus on. With the XS you can clearly see it looks a bit more blurry and the color grading isn't too great. Both lenses you still get the lens flare that you actually see on the camera, but looking at the previous video you can actually see it looks a bit more saturated than this one. So looking at stabilization, what I did is I took 2 time lapses. Obviously you'll see a bit more jerk on the XS, whereas the 12 Pro it looks like a smooth motion that it does, very similar to the GoPro style. And then again the new wide angle video mode, which is insane. Then looking at some night video mode, as you can see this is the 12 Pro Max taking. The lidar sensor does a nice job at the darker areas, whereas this is the old XS. As you can see in the tree areas it looks much darker. So one of the new coolest features on this iPhone is the lidar scanner, and with that you can for instance use this canvas app you're seeing, so you have to reference your whole apartment or where you stay, and then obviously it's rendering it, so you'll go into the render portion now and it looks like a 3D image it's busy creating, and then after the rendering it actually creates a model of your stay or whatever you've just scanned, and then you can actually play around with this app, you know, select like a point you want to go stand there, you want to see a different 3D mode and so on. I have to say this is really amazing, and the coolest feature about this is you can actually import this to a CAD model and then actually change it around and then make a new design. Then looking at some of the performance features, I have to say, like opening a camera app, it looks like a 12x is a bit faster. Sometimes the XA is still 1, but obviously there's 3 camera lenses now instead of just 2, so that might be the excuse. But I have to say it's very similar still, but definitely the 12 Pro Max is quicker. Specifically changing between applications and so on, you can feel that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is much more smoother than the previous models, and I really enjoy the new upgrade in speed. So the $1 million question, should you upgrade? I think it depends. How deep is your pockets? I think it comes off as a joke, but it's quite a pricey phone, I think. I think you really need to consider what are you going to use this phone for. So I think if you're like a beginner filmmaker or want to get into like photography, then yes, why not? This is probably one of the best cameras currently on the market. And I really think that it could be a good stepping stone into a more successful maybe journey possibly in the film and photography industry. I think if you own a 12 Pro Max or maybe an XS Max, then it will typically depend on, do you really need it? I mean, are all these new features really relevant to what you want to use it for? I think also it depends on, again, do you have the money? I think I would typically recommend that you do a trade-in deal and then get like discounted monthly cost. And that's what I did with this phone. Really, it saves you a lot of money. So I think from my perspective, for the last 3 weeks that I've been using the phone, the one thing that really impressed me is the battery. This thing's battery is a beast. I have to say, I would recommend or call myself a heavy user. I think my wife would also do the same. But in the 3 weeks I've used it, I couldn't deplete the battery in a single day, not once. So I have to say this thing's battery is amazing. Then also this phone comes with the new 5G connections, same with all the other iPhone 12 models, the new ones like the mini and just the normal 12 and 12 Pro as well. Currently I think in SA there's no guaranteed 5G speeds yet. Some people might claim it, but I think it's marketing scheme. I think it would only be available in SA in, let's say, the next 2 years possibly. It might be quicker. So if you just want to upgrade for the 5G connection, then yes. But if you want to wait a bit more and wait for the newer models, then obviously I would recommend waiting then. So there's that point. Then there's also the lidar scanner. I mean, it's cool, but it's very limited still. I think not just in South Africa, also in the world. I think that the idea behind it is to, in the future, make more apps which is more virtual related to what you want to do with it. For instance, if you take a lot or some home store in South Africa and you actually create an app that as soon as you scan your house, you can import components or parts or products from their website or the app and then see what it virtually looks like in your house to give you a better idea. Because I mean, how many times we buy things that we don't really use after this because it doesn't fit or the idea that you had behind it. So I think if you may be a CEO of some of these big home stores watching this video, I would recommend jumping on this wagon as soon as possible, because maybe in the future this would definitely be great success if you already started maybe thinking about this now. So I think in conclusion, if there's one thing that you can take away from this video, is the battery of this phone is really amazing. So I would just recommend upgrading to this phone just for instance for this battery. And then thanks guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video and then obviously stay safe.